You don't want to advertise your Oreo Coke? No advertising your Oreo Coke?
No.
What?
Unless they pay us.
Yeah, no free advertising.
Oreo and Coke.
Except for the ice mountains that we've had sitting here before. Disregard those.
And that's the episode.
Oh, you got the iPad this time.
Yeah, I didn't want to write down album titles. So I just took pictures of them.
They're not very long.
Not titles, the songs.
Oh, the song.
Where I was
Okay,
listing them there for a bit. I didn't want to... I was just like, I could just take pictures and still have everything and not have to point to Timmy's phone kind of thing. Bleh. Hi, and welcome to the Album Sharing Sessions, episode 9.
Yo.
Where the three of us sit down and assign each other 3 albums to listen to, then we sit down and review them. That is it.
That's true.
This week we are listening to...
Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter.
By Pixies, or the Pixies.
And Verses by Emarosa. In the past, we had covered things such as The Hum Goes On Forever by the Wonder Years, like Clockwork by the Queens of the Stone Age, Manic by Halsey, and How to Be a Human Being by Glass Animals.
I forgot we listened to that.
Yeah, it's pretty forgettable.
It really was. It had like one good song on it.
Yeah, and it was the popular one.
Yeah.
I noticed, going back from everything but episode 0, that we don't introduce ourselves. So I wrote introductions for us.
All right.
Like little stupid cheesy things that go with our album. So I'll say mine, so then we can you can see what I'm getting at, and then I'll announce you guys too.
Do we get to read the script?
No.
Is there a script?
No, I'm doing it.
Oh.
So my name's Tristan, and people like me, we just don't play. See, it's the title of the song. So I've got, sitting to my left, actually my right, depending on if you're watching or here, it's my right, is Brandon, and he's slicing up eyeballs, and he wants you to know.
I thought you were gonna say he's dead, or
no, that would be too easy.
He bleeds.
That'd be too easy and not cheesy enough for what I'm trying to do. And then here is Timmy, and he wants you to... Oh, I wrote it down. It can't be right. Come right on him?
You mean you mean camaraderie?
Wait, I mean he wants camaraderie.
So let us
I don't know why I said that.
So let us know if you like the new format.
I don't think we should use...
No, I'll do it every time.
That might be a one and done.
I just wanted to make the joke.
Okay.
That was the whole thing. I was like, how can I do this? Yeah, Tristan.
What, you doing necromancy over there?
Yeah.
So
I didn't really...
This is episode 9, correct?
It sure is.
So at the end of this episode, we will be reviewing 3 albums that you guys have voted on.
Yeah.
We put in the community tab, or what were or do you want to get into it now, or do you want to say
I can. It voted, we voted and Spooky won. If you look at the YouTube channel, it actually just says blatantly what won. But I ended it on Wednesday. Just kind of told them.
Yeah. So the options were a spooky themed album, a fall vibe theme album, or a political album, and yeah, Spooky ended up winning.
Yeah.
So at the end of the episode, we will announce each one of us a spooky album.
That's why the albums behind me are spooky.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
You can say albums. There's 2 other ones.
I don't know. I don't know if you're doing a smoke screen on us, or
no way.
If you're just being that blatant.
You will not know until I pick.
Well, it sure is a mystery.
So, the last time I tried to come up with like a theme of what order we're gonna go in, other than just like we'll go in this one.
We have no idea when we walk into this room. We have no idea who's going first.
So we are gonna go newest to oldest, which means
Sabrina.
Timmy's up front. Yeah. Last time he picked the current it girl. We held her for last, so we'll just get it out of the way this time. People don't have to fast forward to the last.
That's good. That's what they did.
Yeah,
right?
That's what they did.
They're like,
we're like, you know what? We'll just shove it in the beginning. So newest to oldest.
So I will be last.
Yes. Sabrina Carpenter, Short and Sweet. It came out August 23rd of 2024. And she currently has 85 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Which was like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a day before we picked it.
Yeah.
Like actually one day. Yeah, if you have any opening thoughts on who or what Sabrina Carpenter is.
I have one, and I'm stealing this from the internet, but Timmy has now completed his Powerpuff Girls trio.
Oh, okay.
Of all the girl pop stars, he's got Billie Eilish, who he picked. She's Buttercup. Sabrina Carpenter's Bubbles, and then Chappell Roan, who we also listen to, is Blossom.
That makes so much sense.
We've done all those on the podcast too, yes. So there's not like any.
He's completed the trilogy there.
But yeah, Short and Sweet is the
An album.
Current popular thing. I'm pretty sure she just won like Song of the Year for Espresso at the VMAs like a couple days ago. So like quite a popular thing. She also performed things like that. I don't actually know how to start.
Yeah, so I've heard her name, but I couldn't tell you. And this is actually my first time hearing her like really popular songs that blew up this year.
Oh, okay.
So I went into this pretty blind. Like I knew of that she made a song called Espresso, but I had never heard of it.
Oh, okay. I had heard both Please, Please, Please and Espresso before this, which were the singles. So like anybody that was listening to it beforehand had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just live under a rock. I somehow avoided it.
We could probably get those out of the way since they've been out for a little while.
Just go over the singles real quick.
Yeah, just those two. Please, Please, Please and Espresso were the two. And if you look at like plays on here, they're at like hundreds of millions, and the next is Taste, and it's at 82 million.
That's like the next single, right?
It was the release single.
Yeah. She had like a music video for it.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'll start since I had never heard Please, Please, Please and Espresso before. On my first listen to this album, they were the only two songs that I liked.
Yeah.
Now, this album kind of grew on me. I don't think it's like, a world beater type album, but I like it more now than I did my initial listen. Because that initial listen, I was kind of hating on it outside of these two singles. I was like, yeah, these are the two singles for a reason,
I kind of felt that way as well.
When I started getting the memes force-fed down my throat, that seems how the memes felt too. Yeah, no, I mean, they are both pretty good.
They are good.
They're fun, good pop songs.
I was pretty impressed, which, doesn't happen often for me with pop music. I did enjoy the Chappell Roan album, but, I don't listen to much pop outside of, here. So...
Timmy, what do you think about?
Yeah, that's just those two singles, right?
About what?
Those two singles.
We're just gonna
break them off. Talk about those.
Well, when Espresso came out, me and my girlfriend just really liked it. It's super catchy. And then Please, Please, Please came out, and I don't really like that one as much. I feel like it's just like going down in quality and it's just less catchy.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
And Taste, which is also kind of...
Yeah, it was the release single, so we could shove it aside as well.
It's also just less good. Like I just feel like the hit singles are just going down in quality.
That is fair.
Espresso.
I kind of have the same sentiment.
I think they're all still decent.
Yeah, kind of the same sentiment. I think that's kind of the whole sentiment for everybody.
That's kind of the vibe I was getting from this. Just like seeing reviews and such online for this album.
To get into the rest of it, I was kind of listening to this and realizing that this album is basically like the me and Sabrina Carpenter Wouldn't Be Friends album.
Yeah. She gets unnecessarily mean in this album.
Yeah, she seems like a fun person. Where like a lot of the songs contradict themselves and mean in weird ways.
Which to her credit, I think sometimes it works. It doesn't work all the time. Like there's a couple, like probably one of my least favorite cuts, Slim Pickens. I don't think it really works there, but
if you bringing that aside, I've also thought it was really interesting that this album has like the most country thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
When I've picked 2 albums that there's a banjo player in the band. And an accordion and a bunch of like country leading instruments. And somehow Slim Pickens is the most country thing we've listened to.
It doesn't have that twang.
It doesn't sound like
Casey
Dolly
Musgraves.
Parton. Just an interesting side note.
She kind of channels a lot of like modern, I don't know if I guess pop artists. I don't know what you want to classify Casey Musgraves at, but like that song reminds me of her. Then she sounds like Ariana Grande in a couple songs. Please, 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 the verses, she kind of has a Billie Eilish thing going. I thought anyway, just the verses. I don't know. I kind of thought it was interesting. But she was channeling all these different artists.
Sound-wise, I actually quite appreciated it because it doesn't all sound the same. There's like things that you could call like in country or even like R&B or really pop or like 80s stuff.
There is some good variety when it comes to the instrumentals. What does not have variety is how every song is essentially about an ex of hers.
Yeah, I was also going to say that I also like that this is a pop album that's not bloated because they tend to do that to get streams.
It's short and sweet.
Yeah.
There's 12 songs. I couldn't be more happy. If it was any longer, I'd probably hate this.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like it starts to overstay its welcome near the end.
Could be wrong, but I do think she writes her own music, lyrics, that way.
It seems that way because I can't imagine like a team of writers, like coming up with basically all of Bedcam, you know what I mean? Like,
and it like lyrically, I think this album is, I don't want to say trash, but just above it.
Yeah.
Where like taste, she doesn't seem to understand how relationships work, and then Please, Please, Please is being annoyed by her partner / like everybody thinks she's bad. He's bad for her, but she doesn't think that, so like just stay inside, like just mean to relationship.
Yeah.
But then it just goes on to be like all guys are dumb and stupid.
Yeah.
But also, like she says at some point that the guy that is nice and breeze doesn't exist, kind of thing. But also, 4 other songs on this album talk about how shallow she is.
Yeah.
It's just constantly contradicting. Not that this is a concept album or anything, but
that was my main issue on my first listen to this album, because about halfway through I had just come to the realization like, oh, like it's just the same vain lyrics over and over and over again.
It did feel that way for me at first as well.
The guy that voices the bad guy in Phineas and Ferb got one of these songs sent to him, and he made a TikTok about it because there's the line of like guy with a thick accent and a white
that's
or something.
That's on Bedcam, right?
Yeah, so they sent it to the guy that voiced the bad guy in Phineas and Ferb, and he was just like, "Oh, she's thinking about me."
And they use like AI to make the lyrics more about the bad guy. Like
what was this, like Doofenshmirtz or something? Doofenshmirtz. It did grow on me a hair. I don't think because I enjoyed the Chapel Roan album. I think I gave that like a 7.
Yeah, something like that.
There were some hit or miss moments on this, and I don't think this is as good as that. But I definitely like it more now than I did 3 weeks ago.
She's been an artist for a little bit longer than what her popularity all of a sudden would assume.
Yeah.
She's got like 6 albums, and I went back and listened to about halfway of Emails I Shouldn't Send or something, the album before this, and there's a lot more like actual heart on that album. but there's not as well. It's not as well produced. So I feel like if you would just take the lyric base of the last album and this one, it would make a much better one that I would actually like. But in between these 3 weeks, I've went from not enjoying this at all to enjoying it some listens to like it really has been back and forth.
Yeah.
Lie to Girls is probably the closest thing to the older style lyrics that she made. Where like it is a little dark, honestly, where it's like if a girl likes you, you don't have to lie to her, she'll lie to herself. That's not the most bright lyric in the world. Especially like shoved between sex songs, more or less. That song also has one of my like least favorite thing in lyrics ever, where it happens like my biggest example is like mostly Simple Plan lyrics where like they sing a thing and they go, nobody knows this as well as I do, where she says that the line, you don't have to lie to girls, nobody knows this better than I do, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that's dumb. It's basically Simple Plan as a plan, or just as a band.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm hurt and you've never been hurt like I've been hurt kind of lyrics, and I just think they're dumb.
I also thought it was strange that 2 weeks in a row Timmy's picked an album where it says Sharpest Tool in the Shed.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
But
All Star and then Sharpest Tool.
I would also say that the Juno is probably the least sexy song I've ever heard in my entire life. The lyrics in there are actually off-putting. The opening line is something about like you fitting, thank God your dad's genetics, and I was like, nothing sexier than thinking about my dad's genitalia.
I don't think I paid attention to that.
It's such an off-putting thing.
That is off-putting.
It's pretty unsettling. Yeah.
Like the lyrics on this, the sex songs specifically, are like more unhinged and like in your face than like Tenacious D's sex song lyrics. Where like they're a comedic band, and I don't think that's what she's going for.
Yeah. I kind of feel like I owe an apology to Chapel Roan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's quite there. I don't know. I just didn't really like the contradicting lyrics, the conceitedness / I've never been in a love triangle with Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello before though, so maybe I just don't relate.
Is that what one of the songs are about?
That's what I would assume Taste is about.
Oh.
But also, I think she is rumored to be who Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo is also written about.
I've heard that.
So.
Yeah, I do question who this is aimed for, because it doesn't seem like it'd be a good listen for like...
Not 3 white guys from the Midwest.
Well, that's not what I was getting at, but it's definitely not aimed at us.
Like
20...
this weird, like, in-between teenager and old kind of thing. I don't know. Or age.
Like 21 to 25.
Just young adults.
Yeah, I would just think. Not me.
Because I don't know. I just feel like somebody might have heard Espresso and then checked it out and be like, oh. Like...
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of love for her. Like, even the songs on, like, that I'm kind of crapping on, it's just, like, the comments are all just like, oh, her lyrics are so unserious, and I love it. And, like cool. I'm happy that these people found something. It's definitely not made for me. Obviously. I'm not the clientele.
Oh, sorry about that.
Phone dying?
No, just notification.
That sounds like a phone dying sound. So here's where I go into my most biased review I've ever done.
Okay.
Ever in this whole music club. So normally, let's say without this little bias I'm about to admit, I would have probably gave this like a 4. But my 2-year-old really likes Please, Please, Please.
See, that's kind of like what I was getting at. Like
my 2-year-old, when it plays in the car, she gets excited and she'll sing along to it because she knows how to say please. So she'll be in the back of the car going please, 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 and like when she's doing the dainty voice that Sabrina Carpenter sings in, kind of sounds like a baby. So she'll be in the background going la, 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 like to the words she doesn't know, and it's fantastic, and it makes me so happy. So this album gets a much higher score than it would have just because of that. When the baby likes the music, it gets higher scores.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
We're like, we went over to my mom's the other day, and on the way home, we were listening to it. When it would turn off, she would go, please, 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 and like start kicking it. And then as soon as we turn it back on, she would be like, yes, and start like dancing.
She might be a better critic than us.
Yeah.
She's quite the fan of that song specifically. So I don't know if you guys have any other comments, but if we were going to go into the scores,
I will say I think Rev is correct. I do prefer Please 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 over Espresso. I think they're both really good, but I would say that that's probably my favorite song.
If you go into lyrics, it's a better one lyrically for
sure.
Yeah,
I like how the beat like in the verses is just kind of it's a little weird. Like you don't hear that kind of stuff often in pop. Like, for such a popular song, you know, like, it doesn't have a typical beat behind it, which I thought was pretty neat. But no, yeah, I think that's probably my number one song on this, followed by Espresso. And I do like Juno, even though it's, like, kind of gross.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
It's very catchy.
Sonically, a lot of these are good, but if I was going to take apart lyrics, it's where it really falls apart, and that's kind of what I do. That's kind of my position on this podcast. Is to take apart lyrics and be like, these aren't that good.
There's another song, Coincidence, I thought was it's, you know, I don't normally like the stomp and holler kind of music, but I thought that was a pretty good cut on this album.
Yeah, there are better music further back in her catalog if you go exploring.
Yeah.
I probably won't.
There's an album even before the last one that has a song where like even me and my wife are like, this is her best song.
This is another week where I struggled big time with scores for all three albums that we're reviewing this week. If you would have asked me on my first listen to Short and Sweet, I would have given it like a 2. But
I think it's Looking at Me. It's on the album Singular Part or Act 2.
All right.
Side note. But that song's probably your best song.
But over time, this, like I said, this has grown on me. Just, I don't think there's really any song that I would say I dislike to the point of skipping it. I mean, I said earlier, Slim Pickens is my least favorite.
Don't Smile would probably be, if I picked a pick, it would be that. Or picked a skip. The last song.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the last song. It's like, you might as well just listen to it. But yeah, I don't know. I went through a roller coaster ride on this album. You know, some days I could not stand it. Other days I really enjoyed it. So that's a roundabout way of saying I don't know how to rate this.
Yeah.
But I think I will just go with a 5.5. That seems about right. Like, as far as like my journey with this album has been, a 5.5 is pretty fitting.
That makes sense.
Rev's enjoyment of this album pushed it up 2 points, and it's getting a 6.
See, I was gonna go with a 6, but like I don't know, I just don't think it's...
It seems like a 6. Musically, I think if there are better lyrics behind it, I could have probably gave it a 9.
9, wow.
The music's really good.
That's a huge jump.
I like the music of that album a lot. I think it is very good pop.
It's very well produced.
Yeah, it is.
It probably the best thing I've heard Jack Antonoff do in some time, because he did large part of a lot of the producing for it.
Yeah,
not all of
it. She teamed up with him just for this album, right? Like
after the Taylor Swift push.
Yeah,
that's same team kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's better than I've heard him do with Taylor, to tell you the truth, musically specifically. But that's a side note. I'll go with 6 though.
After a few listens, I did like this album more. Like, a lot of the like weaker songs just annoyed me at first, but I started to appreciate them more with a few listens. And I actually really like Don't Smile. That's like one of my favorites that isn't like a main single.
It's got a more somber kind of...
Too conceited for me.
I just like, I don't know how it sounds. I just like how it sounds.
Yeah, like that song's more gloomy than...
It would get you your fall vibes thing that you were trying to get going.
I don't think it's like fall vibes.
It might be.
Just Don't Smile?
Yeah, Just Don't Smile.
But my favorites was Espresso, Please Please Please, and then Don't Smile. And I'm going to give the album 6.
Okay.
I should have gave it a 6. We could have
We would have been the devil.
We could have had triple 6.
Ooh,
We
spooky.
would have been the devil.
Shoo.
This is a spooky album.
Short and sweet gets a 5.8.
That's rounding up.
No,
It's got to be like a 5.7777.
It's actually not rounding at all.
Really?
It was 5.83333.
Oh, that is rounding.
Well, it's rounding down, I guess.
I was like, I thought that was going to be repeating. So got that out of the way. Now we're on to Emarosa.
Now people can click off the video.
Yeah, right. Now we're
Bye,
talking about
everybody.
talking about the band that has 351,000 monthly listeners. You can leave now.
How many did Sabrina have? 85?
85 million.
Because you said it, but like it just didn't register.
She's got to be pretty high up on the list now. She's just recently got there. Chaperone's only gotten bigger too, so my list is outdated. But Emarosa. Is at 351.8 thousand monthly listeners, so quite the step down in popularity. But we are covering Emarosa's album named Verses. It came out September 9th of 2014.
All right.
So this album for them, it's kind of, I almost feel like it's kind of impossible to review Emarosa without a history lesson. Because this band has a bit of a identity crisis a lot of the time.
Literally the only thing I know about this band was Johnny Craig was in it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he's not.
So this is the first album without Johnny Craig. But also, Johnny Craig was not the original vocalist either. And also, it seems like every 2 albums, they like very seriously switch it up to where this was 4 albums ago. Their last 2 albums are unrecognizable compared to these 2. So, here's where my history lesson starts. If you guys turn on your phone, go to Emarosa. I'm going to cut this out, but maybe try to add some music in to the actual video. So I'm going to let you play a couple seconds to get an idea of what this band used to sound like. So if you go to their first album, that one right there.
This is your way out.
Play I Am Waves.
Wasn't expecting that.
That is how that EP sounds. That is with a singer named Chris something. I don't know. He is only in the band for that. Honestly, technically speaking, actually super talented. He's got quite the screaming range. Like, if you keep going in that song, he does some highs and lows that a lot of screamers can't do. Then, if you go to their album, it's actually their most popular song. If you go to where you're at and just play The Past Should Stay Dead. And
It's pretty similar to what we listen
Yeah.
to.
Kind of what they are going for in the current album, just with a different singer. So with that, Johnny Craig had joined Emarosa right after the other guy left, after Dance Gavin Dance kicked him out the first time. This was his band in between Dance Gavin Dance stints. Then, funny enough, right after he left this band, Tillian Pearson was in Emarosa
Was he really?
for a little bit,
I didn't know that.
replacing Johnny Craig. Even though those 2 people don't sound alike at all in my brain, he has replaced him twice. But then Tillian went to Dance Gavin Dance. Tillian never made an album with Emarosa. He just did like a tour or 2. And then was kicked out as well.
Well, he was in Tides of Man.
And then
I don't
they
know where
found...
that fits in the timeline.
Yeah, I think it was before. Tillian was only in this band in, like, I think 2011. Something like that. So then they found Bradley.
Something.
His name starts with a W. I'm forgetting it for some reason right now.
Winton.
Sure, it's not.
Bradley Winton.
And that is when this album came out. He is from a band called Squid the Whale.
What?
A no-name, whatever. I don't know how they found them. The Emarosa actually was started in Lexington, I believe. So not too far from here. But with that little history lesson, this is Versus. I'm not even going to go into the newer ones because I will probably pick those at some point. Couldn't be more different than this. My original idea with Emarosa was to do this album and one of their newer ones back to back, but because the gimmick round got in the way, can't do that now. I did not plan this well.
Are you saying it's not spooky?
No. I don't want to spoil where they went, but not spooky. Still good. I will say that. I quite like where they went. But Emarosa, what do you guys think of this album?
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of mid. This is again one of those albums like your like Pacific, where it's just like it was good sonically, but like there wasn't enough there to really make me like care. You know what I mean?
I didn't like pick up on like any of the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah.
But overall, I liked how it sounded.
Yeah. So this isn't a normal type of pick for me because I think most of the lyrics are nonsensical. And they make no sense most of the time. I don't know what song.
Borrowing again from Dance Gavin Dance, are we?
I don't know what song it is, but there's an opening lyric that is, "It pays to be insane, Indiana rain, I let go." Back to back to back. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
That being said, I heard the saying once before, not in relation to this band, but I would listen to Bradley, blanking on his last name, sing a grocery list if I could. I don't care what this man is singing. He's one of my favorite vocalists that exists.
I get it.
He's great. That's really all I have to say.
I can tell I can tell he has the chops, but again, it's like just nothing about it really made me like want to hear more. You know what I mean? Like,
so breaking
like
apart,
I just couldn't get invested into it.
Breaking apart the album, what I would defend to the death are the first 3 songs. Those are by far my favorite. It's People Like Me, We Just Don't Play, American Deja Vu, and 100 Crowns. You know those stupid TikTok videos where it's like a try not to move while we play this song challenge, and like, at least in my brain, I watch it and I'm like, this is stupid. You could just not move. If somebody would have played 100 Crowns, I might actually just break and headbang or something. Like, those 3 songs are some of my favorite that exists. Also, Emarosa is the band that I turn on when I want to like stupidly sing in my car or just listen to something that has good vocals. But to go with the rest of it, the rest of the album slows down the pace a lot, and that's not bad because I like Bradley's vocals, so I would listen to him saying just about anything. I even like Squid the Whale, like the band before this one. But yeah, I get where nothing's sticking because like lyrically I can't pick anything apart. It's all there. But
I will say their slower songs I thought were like a tad more interesting. Like I'll Just Wait.
Yeah.
Which is the 4th song in your 3 run there.
I'll Just Wait's really good.
But yeah, no, like there's that one. There's Say Hello to the Bad Guy, which is like semi slow.
Yeah.
I thought they had kind of a cool groove going on with their more slow approach.
Yeah. Even then, like, the instruments are doing things that you wouldn't think a slow song would do. Like, there's still quite complex drum beats happening and guitar and whatnot.
Yeah, like, there's, like, a good idea here.
Yeah.
That just, like, it just doesn't have the... trying to think of, like, a good, like, analogy here, but... it's a good idea that just ultimately doesn't, bear fruit. You know what I mean? Like, like there's something here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good parts to this album.
Yeah.
It's a shame that I just couldn't like really get super into it.
The only
Because this is kind of like in my wheelhouse,
Yeah, the post-hardcore kind of thing.
Yeah.
There does seem to be a bit of a trend with the lyrics, even though I said they were nonsensical, of being in a relationship with somebody that's religious. It's brought up a handful of times where it's just like, you believe in faith and I believe in something else. I don't even remember the lyric at this time. But yeah, that's really about it. There's some really good vocal runs. A lot of the songs. There's 2 songs on this where the build-up sounds almost exactly the same. But You Won't Love a Ghost and another song in here. Maybe Sane Tightrope. I could be wrong completely. But when the other song builds up, I'm starting to, in my brain, it goes, but you won't love a ghost, even though it's not that song. But it doesn't matter because I like the vocals and I like singing along to them.
I like what they do on the first track where it's a little corny, but like when they're
they cut off the
when
verse.
When they're building up to the chorus, and then he's just like, screw it, and then it just
starts belting.
Yeah, it just breaks down. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
I wish there was like more of that kind of
like
thing in this album. I mean, obviously, don't just overdo that gimmick, but just,
every song.
just throw in
every song.
Just throw in something, to like just hook me back in.
Yeah, but as per YouTube plays, that song and I'll Just Wait are the most popular on this.
That checks out.
Honestly,
that makes
American
sense.
Deja Vu and 100 Crowns are underrated because But You Don't Love a Ghost, Say Hello to Bad Guy, Mad, and that's it. Have more plays than those 2. Mad is actually right behind.
Mad was a good. I forgot about that. Mad is probably like after the People Like Me.
Favorite?
People Like Me and I'll Just Wait. That's my number 3.
But I try to shove this in front of you guys now because they are doing a 10-year anniversary tour of this album. But doing like a whole, almost like an Arrows, but just with Bradley. So they're doing from this album, playing most of this, and then further. Which is the only thing I actually knew of this band before assigning this. So I went through and I was like, well, if I'm going to pick Emarosa and let everybody listen to him, I should at least listen to some of the Johnny Craig stuff. And I listened to that first EP with the screaming. Pretty good stuff all around. But I think Bradley is better than Johnny, which is a thing that people don't tend to think online, but I like Bradley's vocals
They
a lot
don't think
more.
that about Dance Gavin Dance either. Let me tell you, but
like Johnny I've always said is wasted talent.
Yeah, he's just very difficult to work with.
Yeah. But
all accounts.
That being said, I do think Emarosa picked a better vocalist.
Now, didn't he get into some kind of hot water?
It got dismissed.
Yeah, okay. Because I thought I remember hearing this.
There was somebody online trying to cancel them, saying that Bradley has sexually assaulted them, but it was proven false and thrown out of court.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
He did not do that.
I have seen them before. They put on a great show. It's actually where the shirt came from. They opened for Set It Off. But right after this, they did another album that sounded a lot like this that I haven't listened to as much because I like this one more. And then Bradley put on Twitter that post-hardcore Emarosa was dead. And then they made 2 more albums that they went pop, and it's good.
I think I remember you showing me some songs off of the Peach Club album.
Peach Club is good.
And that sounded like nothing like this.
Yeah, no, it's pop and it's great. It's honestly probably where his voice should have been all along. But yeah, because of those allegations and things, Hopeless Records, who had them for their last little bit, dropped them, and the other 2 band members left. So it's really just Bradley and 1 other original member left in this band, making pop music.
So they're still active, like
yeah.
I know
They made an album in 2023. He released one, another pop one. If they keep going pop, cool. If they do their 2 album cycle of changing it dramatically, I'll still listen. I'll still be there.
They're gonna make a bluegrass album next.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That's really all I have for Emarosa.
Yeah, I don't have much to say.
This has been my history lesson of a band that has never been able to find what they've been going for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just gonna regurgitate what I said about like Pacific. Like it's fine, you know. Like that's really like there's some cool parts, but again, nothing that makes me want to necessarily hear more.
Yeah.
I mean, if from what I've heard of Peach Club, like I would maybe check out their newest work just to see how it compares to this. Like maybe I might like that better. I don't know. But
will be the one that is assigned to you guys at some point when I find the time. So
yeah, but what I will say, it's like even albums that I don't like, they at least make me like invested in it. Whereas this is just kind of like, yeah, it's okay, you know. So that's pretty much all I got.
Okay. Tim, you have any thoughts on Emarosa?
Not a lot.
Versus specifically because they changed their sound quite a bit, a lot.
I just thought it sounded pretty good.
Cool.
5.5.
Fair enough.
5 for me.
I will go 7.8.
It's a little lower than I thought you were gonna do.
Nah. Because I agree. I don't get anything from the lyrics for most of these songs, or any of them really. I just think the band and the things that are there. I don't know the best analogy for this. Maybe fast food. Or like it's good.
I see. I see where you're going with this.
I really like the taste of Taco Bell, and I enjoy it while I'm eating it, and it tastes good. But within an hour, I'm hungry again.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
No, I get the analogy there.
Yeah. But I do quite like them, and seeing them perform is a lot of fun. And again, Bradley is one of my favorite vocalists. He's up there with like Lucas from Holy Absence, and like for just like all-time favorite vocalists for me. Holding Absence has like crazy depressing lyrics, so I give them higher scores.
They're better. They're a better band to like dissect the lyrics of.
But
yeah, no, your fast food thing makes sense. It's like it gets the job done.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always just super delicious or whatever, but
if I want to sing in the car, this is what I turn on.
This gets a 6.1.
That seems fine. And then going to Pixies, the album Doolittle. It came out April 17th of 1989, and they currently have 10 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
I'm surprised that many people are still rocking with Pixies.
When you were... I know how to intro this one a little bit, just in my own thing. When you were pitching this, you were saying that you were like feeling nostalgia for like the Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins and stuff from the last time.
Yeah.
So I was expecting this album to have come out sooner than 1989 when I first listened. I got through my whole first listen and I was like, this doesn't sound like a mid-2000s or 90s album. And then I looked at it and found out that it was older than that.
Yeah, no, like it's, just on the cusp of the 90s, but like it's got those kind of punk roots in it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of bands have gone on record as they said they've just ripped off Pixies. Like Kurt Cobain has said that he basically just molded Nirvana after Pixies.
Okay. I can't see, I hear that, but that's fine. I could see them influencing a lot.
It's not like super obvious.
It sounds, yeah.
It's not super obvious, but like after a few listens to Doolittle, you can start to see like their fingerprints, their DNA in a lot of the albums that came out shortly after this. Now,
if you want to intro it in a different way.
I was gonna say, that being said, Pixies are a weird band. I don't know if people necessarily mold their act after Pixies' weirdness. I think it's more of just their sonic, their stylistic, how they sound, like they got the guitars going. No, I mean, they kicks off with, I think, I would say Debaser is probably my favorite song in the album. It's also one of the weirder songs on the album, that's for sure.
It's slicing up eyeballs.
Yeah.
Have you seen the lyric video for that song?
I watched the music video.
It has a slicing up an eyeball.
That's pretty gross.
Yep. Not like an actual one, I guess. It's like
It's like a gummy or something.
props. It's gross though. I'll say that.
I mean, Black Francis, that's the lead singer of Pixies. I think he probably needed some like psychiatric help with
What?
while writing this album.
That's crazy. This album's never been on my radar, let alone the Pixies in general.
They're in a weird spot where it's like Doolittle is always in those top 100 rock albums.
Exactly what I was getting to.
And then it's like but on the other hand, you just never hear anybody talk about Pixies.
As soon as you
so it's like which is it?
As soon as you did this, I found like somebody's top 100 rock albums that had just got released, and this one and the one before this from the Pixies were on it. It's like for a band that I've never really had on my radar ever, they're on these top lists.
Yeah, they're underrated in that way, for sure. Like they don't get enough credit, I think, even though they do get plenty of credit, but they're not like. Again, they didn't reach the heights of say Nirvana and
for a band that
acts.
For a band that apparently Kurt Cobain says influenced them, their top song has like 50 million plays on YouTube. Like that seems like low for the band that influenced Kurt Cobain.
Is it from Doolittle or is it Where Is My Mind?
It's from this one. Oh. It's Here Comes Your Man, which I did know before this.
I don't think I did.
I would have thought Where Is My Mind would be their most popular, because that was on Fight Club.
On Apple Music, it actually says Hey is their most popular.
That's a little strange.
It's like their second.
It is the second most popular on YouTube too.
I think it's funny that everything has like at least 1 million plays except for Silver, which is the only one that's under 1 million.
Yeah,
Silver's the worst song on the album.
So
that makes sense.
There is a band named Stay Inside that is very relatively new and very, very unknown that I feel does their sound better. I like Stay Inside a lot.
That's a pretty bold claim.
And the whole time listening to this, I was like, I see where Stay Inside gets the influence from. But their albums are like 20 to 30 minutes that are only like 8 songs long. And I feel like this album has too many songs, and they're too all over the place for me to get my head around most of them.
It's strange in that way because it's like 15, 16 songs, and they're all like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's one after the other after the other.
Hey being number 13 baby, or no 13 baby, however you want to say it.
Number 13
is their longest on this, and it is almost at 4 minutes.
Silver always feels the longest to me when I'm listening to it.
It's close. It's up there on their length.
Because like I said, that's definitely my least favorite. That's a lot of people's least favorite off this album. It's just it also has that country twang to it. Like that song always kind of reminds me of like a western.
While listening to the album, I actually thought it would work better as the closer. Like switch that and gouge away.
I could see that.
It's not good, and I wouldn't like choose to listen to it. But if it was like an outro, besides the second to the last song, I think it would be more palatable.
Yeah, gouge away is a little odd. Just coming off of Silver.
Yeah,
it'd probably make more sense if they were flip flopped.
Some reason I like. When I'm doing these album reviews, I really like to find the things that I'm having problems with and try to see if there is a simple way to make it better. Like way back, if I was there April 16th, 1989, I'd be like, hey, maybe switch these two. But I was not.
No, I get it. I mean, if it were me, I just probably wouldn't even
delete it entirely.
I just probably wouldn't even put Silver on the album.
So, Pixies is the only thing I actually wrote notes for this time. And I made a list of both songs that I really didn't like and a list of songs that I did like. And they're almost split even with songs I don't like having 2 extra.
Alright.
So where songs like Silver or Tame or La La Love You are almost annoying to me. But then flip the page, I actually really like when this band goes like unhinged, because I quite like Crackety Jones and Mr. Greaves and Debaser.
I was gonna say Tame is probably the most unhinged song there is on this album.
Yes, but the lyrics are just the name of the song.
Yeah, but who cares when he's screaming, Tame in your ear? Like, who cares what he's saying?
But I also feel like I've heard Waves of Mutilation before.
It's on Rock Band 1.
Like, that would be why. I was listening to it. I was like, I think I've heard this. But I didn't put where.
Yeah,
I also like that song.
That's how I first heard about Pixies, was Rock Band 1, Wave of Mutilation.
So, this is my one that I don't really know how to review, other than I kind of like some of them. And then really don't like some of them.
I think this album, it's considered a classic.
Yeah.
Which
is why it's
by a lot of people.
Why I don't like it.
But
it came out in the 80s.
I do really like this album. I love this album. I have it on vinyl. I will say it's pretty top heavy, or really, really the first half.
Like, yeah, it is.
Looking at it, once Crackety Jones is over,
yeah, you could chop.
Well, I wouldn't say
cut it all
I wouldn't say get rid of the second half, but like
Hey, it's their most popular song. I'm telling you to chop it.
Hey. But no, yeah, like, songs 1 through 8, I'm having a great time. Like, yeah, this is fun. This is weird, but it's fun. And then, La La Love You kicks in, and then the enjoyment just kind of kicks down a level.
Yeah.
I still really, enjoy the second half outside of Silver, but it's nowhere near as good as the first half.
I think the first song that stuck out to me as something I didn't like was La La Love You.
La La Love You is just kind of strange, like even for Pixies.
It almost feels like half the songs are like sort of interludes.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point. It does feel like an interlude, like now that I'm thinking about it, because it goes into number 13, Baby, which is a more upbeat, energetic song. You have any thoughts, Timmy?
Yeah, I didn't like the album.
My family tells me every week, they're just like, oh, Timmy's the hater. And I was like, sometimes I feel like I'm taking your position, and then you're just like, I hate it.
I didn't find any of it very enjoyable at all.
I feel like that's fair.
It all just blended together. It sounded like an alcoholic screaming the entire time.
You don't want to listen to that?
No.
See, I don't know. I think
that's what I signed up for.
I think you're being a little harsh. Like, I don't.
Maybe, but
like
a song from before the 2000s that somebody else doesn't like.
Well, no, I'm talking about his screaming thing. Like, not all the songs he does that. Like, it's like Tame, yeah. Debaser, Monkey Gone to Heaven. In the breakdown, he goes a little crazy. But
I actually don't like Monkey Gone to Heaven until it goes crazy.
I like that song a lot.
I think that was like the one song I did.
But then there's
it's very repetitive though.
Then there's Here Comes Your Man, and
that song shouldn't be on this album.
Here Comes Your Man.
Yeah.
Your Wave of Mutilation's not super in your face.
I watched a video of a person breaking down this album because I was having trouble.
I did that last week with American Idiot. Just to get a different perspective.
They had said that Here Comes Your Man is a song that the lead guy had made when he was like a teenager, and he was really reluctant to put it on this album. And
I'm glad he did.
And the producer was like, you better put that on the album. It's going to be your biggest hit.
Here Comes Your Man's a great song. I think a lot of these songs really benefit from their backup vocalist.
Stay Inside has one of those too.
There's really ripping off Pixies.
Stay Inside's good.
But their bass player Kim Deal, I think her backing vocals really like accentuate a lot of the tracks here. Like if she wasn't in this band, I don't think this album would be as highly acclaimed as it is.
Probably not.
You looking up Stay Inside?
Yeah, because they make me sad.
Why?
So their first album Their plays are like 10,000 and 3,000 and 3,000. It's probably one of the smallest bands I listen to, and I need them to be more popular. So listen to Stay Inside. Now.
Make us listen to.
They sound like kind
Pixies.
of like the Noise Pixies kind of thing, but modern. They do more screamy movements type sound as well, where it seems like movements also influence them quite a bit. Take Pixies and movements. Stay Inside. Sounds weird, but it works. My endorsement to whoever listens to this far. We already talked about Sabrina Carpenter. Nobody's
Yeah, I mean,
here.
we're basically almost done.
Nobody's here.
Nobody's listening.
Nobody's here anymore.
Well, no, they gotta. Because I let them off in the beginning.
Yeah.
With they gotta stay for the picks.
Yeah, they had a
spooky picks.
I lean more towards Timmy, towards this album too. Where I
I
can put up with most of the songs.
I will
but
say
a lot of the time I'm just not having a good time.
I don't think this is an album that you guys will come around on because you were just like didn't really seem to care for it too much. I didn't really like it like all that well when I first heard it, but over the years it's kind of like started to click. I'm not saying I don't think that's probably going to happen with you guys, but
I don't think I'll go back to it to give it.
And Pixies just like aren't for everybody.
I did just
super weird.
I did just unlock Debaser and Beatstar, so I'll be listening to that some more.
Debaser's such a perfect way to kick
I
off
like
the
Debaser.
album.
I do like that song. I was looking more forward to this album with the first couple songs, and then I was like, take Tame out. But then it just kept going. And it's not that long, but it felt long. Yeah. This whole kind of... For some reason, this episode, in timestamp wise, felt like a longer strain of time than even the time that we got an extra week.
It did.
It did. I thought so too.
I don't know why that is.
I kept checking my calendar throughout the week where I was like, I've got to be doing the math wrong on what 3 weeks is.
I started thinking, I was like, did we miss a week? Or
Yeah, I felt the same way.
I would go to my recordings of when we uploaded episodes, and I was like, no, we record 2 weeks after we upload. It's like
I was like, wow, I've been stuck with this, like, with Pixies, Sabrina Carpenter, and Emarosa for, like, what feels like 2 months.
Yeah, no, I felt the exact same way. Or
that's a weird phenomenon that we all three of us felt the same way.
These are also probably the lowest scores. We haven't got into this, but that we've done since we started recording. So maybe that's why.
The lowest scores?
So far, it's been like 5s and 6s, and since we started
Oh,
recording,
I was going to say, are you forgetting like when we didn't review a lot of albums pretty highly, like just in the
recording part?
Yeah, no, I mean like,
but as a whole episode.
Oh, like all the albums put together.
Normally, there's one that gets like an 8 here lately.
Yeah,
we just got our highest rated ever last episode. But Timmy, since you hated this so much, rate it first.
Okay, 3.
Okay. I was going to go 3.5. So.
Again, I guess I'm just on an island here. They did the same thing with Abbey Road by the Beatles. They just don't like the classics, I guess.
No.
But,
everybody knows that about me by now.
I like Doolittle a lot, but I am not blind to the flaws on it. Again, like the second half is a bit weaker than the first. Silver can go.
You might forget about this by the time it comes, but no, I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna cut what I just said. Go, keep going.
Okay. Okay. Well, way to make me lose my train of thought there. Thanks.
That's what I'm here for.
No
more train of thought. I will derail my own podcast at every step of the way.
But no, okay. I like this album a lot. I can't not give it like a 9.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Doolittle.
Fair enough.
Tristan, what did you give it?
3.5.
3.5. Okay.
I gave an album a 6 this time. I was just thinking about my weird scores. I didn't even one this time.
5.2.
Yeah, so the highest rated one was like a 7 this time, or 6.8 this time.
I think it was 6. Was it Emarosa 6.1?
Yes, Carpenter was 8.
It was 5.8.
5.8. Oh, jeez. But
yeah, because we all gave it.
Oh yeah, 6 and 5.5.
Yeah.
Timmy, is there any creepy, spooky pop stars of the last year?
I don't think so.
There's got to be.
You've already done 2
That's
Billie
not
Eilish
wrong.
albums. So I've made this wall behind my head.
You don't.
Yeah.
And so obviously, since we're talking about spooky music
He's totally gonna fake us out.
and this album
It's not gonna. I just know.
and this album's not gonna be released, or this episode's gonna be released October 14th. I'm clearly gonna have to go with Gradual Decline in Morale by Kim Dracula.
I knew it. I knew it was a smoke screen.
You're so right.
Who has not that has not been printed on vinyl, so I can't put it on the wall.
You don't fool me.
I know.
I saw right.
I know. But a gradual decline in morale. To introduce it, I will tell you as much as I know about it when I first listened to it.
I mean, he's got Dracula in the name.
Yes.
So.
Every year, I have a handful of music reviewer type people that I listen to. That at the end of the year, when they start doing their end of the year list, I normally take a second and check out. And one of the podcasts to do an end of the year list put this album as like number 12 or 13 of the best of 2023, I think is when it came out. So that's all I knew going into it.
What reviewer was this?
It was a podcast called State of the Scene. They do it. It's 2 hosts, and they take their end of year stuff. They fight basically and have the same list, so they'll fight on what goes, and things that other people put at 1 will end up being 10.
They'll have to deliberate.
Yeah, it takes like hours. It's it's pretty fun, but I just skipped to the end because I only wanted to listen to some of it, and it ended up being on their list, and I checked it out, and that is all I knew about it before going into it. I think that is the best way to go into this album, is knowing as little as possible.
All right. Timmy, do you want to go first?
I threw Brandon through a loop.
Well, no, I was just gonna say since did we say who picked what? I don't think we did.
No, but
I was championing Spooky, so I will go last.
Okay. My album is Spirit Phone by Lemon Demon, and it is an hour and 43 minutes long.
Jesus Christ.
So, but half of the album is just bonus tracks. So we're gonna ignore.
We're gonna do deluxe. Is there a non-deluxe, or is
I
it
don't think so. Not as far as I could see.
Spirit Phone?
So
Is that new?
no, 2016.
Okay, kinda. I feel like I've seen that album cover, but I know I'm wrong because I've never heard of any of the words you just said put together.
So only the first 14 songs.
Yeah, they at least they all say bonus track.
Yeah.
If you look at mine, it has a scary amount of tracks, but the album itself isn't the crazy
I've been
one.
wanting to do this one for a long time, but I was like, this is too long. But then I
Is it
realized
spooky because it's too long?
Yeah.
That's why? You're like,
Ooh, jump scare.
I mean, it scared me when he said it's an hour and
See?
40 minutes.
Ty, when she was a part of this group, found an album of a guy that does like 1-minute songs about each city of each state. And so he has an Ohio album, and he just doesn't have like where we live or whatever. But it's like 200 songs long. It's like 2.5 hours. She's like, I'm going to pick this one day just to spite them.
Didn't what's like that Mac DeMarco guy like make a really long album? I'm gonna look that up real quick.
There are really long ones. I'm going to have you tell me that name when we actually go back to start downloading these.
Okay.
Because that just sounded like a word scramble to me.
One Wayne G, Mac DeMarco.
I don't think it's Lemon Demon, but I know those 2 words were said.
It is Lemon Demon.
It's Lemon Demon.
It's
Okay.
Lemon Demon.
Yeah, this Mac DeMarco album has 199 tracks, and it's 8 hours and 43 minutes long.
There's a guy that found out the Spotify algorithm of how to make money on Spotify.
Oh,
And
I
it's
see that.
it's you have to make at least 8 seconds into a song. So he made like a 2,000 song album that are all 8 seconds long.
He's just farming.
Yep.
All right, so my pick is another one that I've been wanting to pick for a while, but it's a very seasonal album. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to pick it any other time
Now
of
that
the year.
I haven't picked it, you can pick that one.
But yeah, like I said, it really only makes sense to pick it like during October through December. December just because of the album cover. But I am
A
picking...
Nightmare Before Christmas. Soundtrack.
Yeah, the Tim Burton soundtrack. No, I am picking Murder Ballads by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which is weirdly topical because they just came out with an album like a few days ago.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were still making music. This album's from, I think, the year we were born.
So from Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And
1996. Yeah, Nick Cage and the
Nick Cage and the Bad Seeds.
So that is it.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking around if you've made it this far.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's it. Just here to celebrate the different tastes in music because it's weird, and the fact that the three of us can be lifelong friends and disagree so heavily on albums, I think, is interesting.
Just like your
that's it.
podcast where the people deliberate, I would die on the hill for Doolittle. And
Yeah.
And you guys
Yeah.
would just kick it to the
So
curb.
if we were doing like a tier list of albums we cover on the podcast, we'd both be like, no, and you'd be like, no, it's number 3.
Yeah, I'd
and
be like,
we'd
it's got to make the list. We should do something like that for like
end of the year's coming.
End of year.
That being said, we do rate everything, so we kind of already got it.
Well, that's fair, but sometimes opinions can change.
I do have a plan of doing like at least yearly stuff for the stuff that came out this year. Do like a individual best of. It maybe even of the podcast, like things you might have went back to, kind of thing.
Yeah, or maybe each of us can do like a
bonus episode.
Top 5 like favorite albums we listened to from the podcast or something.
But yeah, we started in like April, so we didn't lose that much time versus the start of the year, so we definitely can. But that's it. Thanks for listening thus far. Again, and
before you end the episode, yes, I do have more than one shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if people have noticed that, but I always wear a black shirt when we do this. But
now you're blue.
Now I am blue.
Well,
they did a theme. I'm out of it, kind of. There's some blue.
yeah, we're all a little blue.
A little blue. But thanks, and see you guys in 3 weeks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Spooky.